So today I want to talk briefly about Alice, which I know is my name, but it's also the name of a project that I started as my thesis for my master's. So ALICE stands for Assisted Life Intelligence Coaching and Education. So my master's thesis was with the challenges that people deal with in their day-to-day life, in terms of human thriving, well-being, mental health, things like that. They often get stuck in the continuum of care, which means they try and get help one place and then they don't get quite the help they need, and then maybe they give up, or they find a resource but it's not the quite right resource, and they just get stuck somewhere and don't make it all the way to the well-being state that we want everybody to be in. So the idea behind ALICE, remember, Assisted Life Intelligence Education and Coaching, is that one of the wonderful things about software is that it can help us increase the scalability and reasonability of getting more support to more people at a lower price per person. So the concept for ALICE was that we could do this using technology and assist people in those areas, right? So assist in life intelligence, which is understanding more about themselves and their life, right? And helping them make intelligent choices about their life with information and data points related to their life. Also, coaching, right? Providing coaching, and coaching that was maybe more relevant or niche specific to whatever someone was going through. And then education, right? So education about how to work through and deal with whatever their problems might be in particular. So that was my master's thesis. Now, as a master's thesis, I actually had to make a full business proposal for that. So I actually did a business proposal for an app and all that. And of course I got an A because I'm a nerd, but I didn't actually try and build it at the time because I'm recording a video, but I'm actually shy, and especially when it comes to asking for things. And I, in no way, shape, or form, wanted to be the CEO of a company that had to go ask investors for money or anything. So I didn't start the company at that point in time. But I've always still felt that the idea has validity, and to date still haven't felt that any of the current mobile apps or web providers or other people are doing quite what I, was hoping that we would get to at some point. And so in the near future here, I am planning to actually release a mini baby version. So nowhere near the complexity and level of technological sophistication that I would have if I'd, moved forward with my master's thesis, but a mini baby version, with my clients for the CEO Within, to help me be able to possibly work with them better and maybe even act as like a proof of concept for my master's thesis concept from back in, it was like 2016 or something like that when I completed it. So that's what ALICE stands for. In terms of the features and things that I might want it to do versus what I might, do short term for my clients. Obviously, for myself and my own clients, it's going to be a tool to help me better connect with my clients and share information with more than one client at the same time that might be informative or useful for them, and be a repository of knowledge so that I don't have to be repeating the wheel. And, as my services aren't inexpensive, hopefully gain some scalability where I can feel like I can offer more without having to increase costs to more people. And also just, for them or myself, be able to find, remember, and easily access resources again without digging through, 200 emails or some scrap of paper that I might have handed out at one time or whatever, right? So one function will obviously be, storing information. So some of that information might be videos I might do, others might be handouts or materials, or for example, I have templates for journaling and daily diary tracking and things like that. So those kinds of materials I'm going to be making available in the app. Also, I will be making a social forum where clients, if they want to publicly talk amongst each other or ask each other questions or what have you, they can do that too, because I'm very much a believer in the benefits of social support and peer support, not just support from professionals who have one skill set, because there's a lot of research and studies that have shown that there's a different type and benefit to hearing from somebody else that such and such works. That gives people extra hope and gives them more motivation even to try and do whatever the activity is that they're supposed to be doing. So I think it's very valuable to do that. And plus, right, how much can I really know on my own, right? I'd much rather build a community where everyone can share information and we can benefit from all the community knowledge rather than trying to have anybody rely on only me, one human, as a source of information. And that's one of the reasons why long-term, the big dream or bigger dream of the mobile app is that the mobile app would also become part of, it might be like one mobile app I might make, like my client-facing app would be very similar to the ADHD Out Loud app, which I have, which is free, in case you forgot, for people with ADHD specifically. But that apps like this would kind of be like, I forget the name of that tree, but there's that kind of tree that has, many branches up above the ground, but like it's all one root system underground, where it's like that, where there'd be like a data root system that's all connected between the various apps or systems I might have that talk about resources that have been vetted. I'm not going to be sharing any resources or healthcare providers or, counselors or coaches or anybody that haven't been vetted. They have to come to me, they have to get vetted, pay for an ad or whatever, or for the time to have one of my staff or team members vet them or whatever, but people will be vetted. But all those resources then would be able to populate in the different databases as needed, but with relevant information for the audience that they're facing. Because that's one of the problems I think with a lot of ways that information is shared is that it's not always shared in a way that's the most relevant to the audience that's currently seeing, because it's very challenging to do that, right? I mean, even if you think about me as one practitioner, let's say that as a coach and counselor, I can work with people who have ADHD, Asperger's, autism, none of the above, just struggle with time coaching management, right? The search terms or the words or the things that all those people need is all very different, right? So when one company tries to write a job description or a business description for one of those services, or to try and say that they do all of them, they might not actually write the verbiage right to really resonate with the person they're trying to reach. And I know that's a struggle, in my own marketing, and many practitioners, I would say most healthcare professionals probably have less experience actually working in marketing or trying to come up with verbiage, being as they didn't have a background in getting a BA and an MBA in business and working with small businesses for 20 years before they completed their doctorate like I did. So most people don't have that same kind of multidisciplinary background as I do. And so one of the other benefits of how I envision the verbiage being done and on my systems long-term is that the verbiage that we will make forward-facing, depending on the platform, will be more useful and written in a way that from, that A.L.I.C.E perspective, industrial organizational psych, I always forget to say it out, the full name, it will, that the industrial organizational perspective, or like the motivational psychology or just psychological perspective of how we educate people, the education we do is going to be done in such a way as to hopefully increase their psychological capital. So if you haven't heard any of my other talks or things on geeking out about psychological capital stands for, is something that helps, is like underlying motivations that help somebody move forward in life and actually make decisions in their life. And the acronym for that is actually HERO, which I think is very cool, because I want to help temporarily be someone's hero and then help them be a hero to themselves, right? So HERO is hope, optimism, resiliency, and hope, self-efficacy, resiliency, and optimism, right? So with PsyCap and that kind of hero mentality, if we do the marketing verbiage well, then when someone reviews the information about a provider or healthcare practitioner, they will feel increased psychological capital, that optimism or maybe the hope that this provider might actually be able to benefit them. And if there's any doubts in their minds about the kinds of problems, that might be keeping them from wanting to move forward with that provider, the content we come up with would also help overcome those doubts or those concerns. And I've actually done a practical experience of this, a pilot of my, preferred method of doing marketing with some students from Arizona State University as part of an applied learning project. So I partner with universities. I'm not an official professor anywhere yet, but I partner with universities and work with the on-staff professors to provide on-site practical experience doing work with me for those students. So instead of just like an internship where they, get coffee or something, they're actually doing work that relates to their, study of interests. I've worked with programming students and health students and marketing students, what have you. But I give them, they work on projects like this for me where we're actually doing something that, I hope to help the world with, such as like making this pilot and showing that we can increase SciCap. And so, for example, we did this in one SciCap experiment. And there's a different video on that already, so I'm not going to go into detail about that here. But in general, the goal of A.L.I.C.E and, baby version now and, bigger versions as things go, because if you've worked with me on any tech projects, you might know that I'm a big believer in agile and not overbuilding before you know what people want and exactly the best way to get it to them. But with A.L.I.C.E, my goal or my hope is that someday, either through my projects or other people's projects, as technology grows, as much as all the data stuff can be used poorly in terms of sharing things, I'm hoping that we can use it well to help better connect people to resources and increase their SciCap and help get them not just increase SciCap but also access through technology to a higher level of social capital than they might be able to find in their local area in terms of human connections, real actual connecting to humans or healthcare providers or making new friends or all those different kinds of things that people need in terms of real human connection. And it can be virtual and it can be in person depending on what the resources are, but get them to those connections, but through using technology such as A.L.I.C.E that can help make it more scalable and easier to get them those resources over time. So that's a little bit about my goals and dreams for A.L.I.C.E. Once again, A.L.I.C.E stands for Assisted Life Intelligence Coaching and Education. And that's part of the CEO Within Me philosophy, right? The goal is to help someone be the CEO of their own life and to help them make more informed life decisions that are better for their own life and help them, move forward in life in a way that increases their own well-being and productivity and happiness and all that fun stuff, either as an employee or as a manager at work or a leader or whatever. And hopefully A.L.I.C.E will help them do that better as a mobile application that long-term will have, more sophisticated artificial intelligence kind of integrations and or ways to make it more scalable, right? Like long term, I'd like to semi-replace myself with the AI A.L.I.C.E version that can maybe point people in even better directions, right? How cool would it be if rather than spending money going to see one therapist for 6 visits or something like that, or one coach, you were able to talk to A.L.I.C.E, the AI app, and realize that, okay, these things can solve these problems already without having to go to a human for help. And then these other things connect you to a particular human that might be a human that's more like what you actually need, especially when you don't even know the words to look for that kind of thing, right? There's many types of treatment modalities that most people don't know the names of or even know that might be good for them, right? But my goal, if I get around to ever building the AI side of A.L.I.C.E, would be that it would help translate people's normal day-to-day language into understanding and kind of pointing them towards the right, sciencey kind of verbiage of a technique or a therapy or a modality that they might not have known or realize existed. Because someday, if or when I die eventually, like I'd love to be known for this saying: you can't Google what you don't know exists, right? You can't type into the search engine Google, hey, I need, to learn more about I don't know, I can't think about a term off the top of my head, but if there's this particular term or a thing that you're struggling with, if you don't know the word for it, you can't Google it to find out what it is. And there's some auto-suggesty kinds of things, but they're really not that sophisticated yet. But I think a AI that's built specifically around understanding and thinking about neurodiversity, mental health, and those kind of conditions could become super sophisticated in how it would help people with that long term. So there's my little spiel about A.L.I.C.E.